And it's he who is not that guy. It's he who is quarterbacking the Pittsburgh team.
All right, so Dillon Gabriel with his second start. Aaron Rodgers in his 21st season. How about this, Jalen Ramsey? Jalen Ramsey had 2 sacks in this game. Wow. He's playing in a game with Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt, and he was the best pass rusher. Unbelievable. It's really, really cool. He hasn't had very many sacks even in his career, but just an awesome effort from him, and then Rodgers doing things like this. Guys, the DK thing is working. DK to Pittsburgh is working. I mentioned it earlier with Pickens. He's in Dallas now. That's working. All of this is working. Let's celebrate some things that are working. It's great. And Rodgers is working. And by the way, they're 4-1. 4-1 in the AFC North is 8-1. It's incredible. Afterwards, we heard from Aaron Rodgers and Myles Garrett. Go ahead and take a listen to hear Myles Garrett whine about how they're not winning at all while he counts his money.
You know, for the most part, that's a really good defense that's going to stand up most of the game. We just had to make the most of, you know, a short field on one of them, and then a couple of really nice sustained drives in the second half.
It seems like every game, the script is kind of the same, where the offense really isn't going up as much. It's a little more frustrating and difficult to kind of deal with. It's like it goes through your mind.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. To lose the same way every time, it's frustrating as hell.
He understands the question. He validates the answer. The Browns are looking at the Steelers at the top of the division as they sit at 4-1 in the AFC North and in their year as well. The Bengals trail at 2-4, and the Browns continue to find challenges in the face of adversity. And the Ravens, oof, that's a whole different conversation. Have you changed your expectations, Manti, when you consider what Rodgers was supposed to be in Pittsburgh, also what he is delivering after this weekend?
No, I don't change my expectations of Aaron Rodgers. I always believe that going into this season, with the system that they have over there in Pittsburgh, relying heavily on the run, that it's not going to put Aaron Rodgers in a position to feel like he has to win the game. And I feel that he's been doing such a great job, and he showed that yesterday with him being able to direct traffic while he's scrambling and do the things that Aaron Rodgers has been accustomed to do. What I did not expect was I worked the London game here in this building yesterday morning, and I watched the Jets and the Broncos game where the Jets had 9 sacks. I was like, holy smokes, can somebody protect the quarterback? And then I flip on this game. The very next hour, the very next window of games, the Steelers had 6 sacks, guys. And to KB's point, Jalen Ramsey had 2, and there's a clip that I want to throw to right now about what he had to say after that game where he had 2 sacks.
I'm going to probably tell my kids about this. I played in a game with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, and I had 2 sacks. That's crazy, huh? That's crazy. So, yeah, it's my first time in my whole career having 2 sacks in one game, so that's pretty cool, too.
He had 2 sacks. Nick Herbig had 2 sacks.
Nice.
Dillon Gabriel was pressured on 41% of the snaps that they played yesterday for the Cleveland Browns. So when I watched the morning game, I was like, wow. When I watched this game, I was like, wow. So, no, my expectations, Jamie, hasn't changed.
Perfect.
Expectations have not changed because I know that Aaron Rodgers is still a dude, and as long as Aaron Rodgers has protection and he has weapons to get the ball to, he's going to ball. You could say he's 172 years old. You could say that he's been playing for 20-plus years. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron, a.k.a. John Wick in my eyes, and this dude is just an absolute beast. He and DK Metcalf are figuring this thing out, and we talked about, you know, your Kyle already mentioned it, the trade is working, right? The Cowboys are happy with George Pickens, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers are happy with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, hands down, is the most physical and arguably one of the fastest receivers in the game. This dude is an absolute beast. You know, when you start talking about Aaron Rodgers and him getting on the same page, that's when it gets scary. The last 2 weeks, DK Metcalf is averaging 24 yards per reception. The last 4 weeks, DK Metcalf is averaging 1 touchdown per game. So these guys are starting to get it figured out, and once they are on the same page and once they incorporate a running game, this offense is going to be hard to stop.
Isaiah, you're on it. I'm watching these highlights of Rodgers throwing to DK, and it's reminding me of Devontae.
Yep.
Like, it's all these things where the ball's in the air before he's even looking. There's palpable chemistry going on here, and they've been doing it on the fly. I sat with Rodgers at training camp in August. He sits down in the director's chair before we're even mic'd up and talking, and I just say, hey, how's it going, man? And he just looks at me and goes, we got a lot of work to do. And I was like, oh, no, that's not great. But now it's like that was 2 or 3 months ago. And look what we're looking at. And yeah, my expectations have changed for the Steelers. You know why? Because of Burrow and Lamar being out. I said they're 4-1. They're 8-1. The AFC North is a totally different scale. The Bengals are broken. The Ravens are broken. The Browns are the Browns. 4-1 is like, are we done? Like, are we going to win the division? I know there's a lot of football left to play, but let me save you the mystery. The Steelers are going to be, let's call it maybe 12-5. I think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to have a home playoff game. And here we are again in January. The Steelers are playing a wild card football game, this time at home. And we'll see. The difference is now they have Aaron Rodgers and they never have in the past. It's going great. Like, I know that Mike Tomlin has his critics and Rodgers has his critics. 4-1 right now in the AFC, looking smooth. They already have division wins. Like, let's go. Is this, if you would have signed up for 4-1 at the beginning of the season and Rodgers is throwing touchdowns and DK looks great, what is really the problem with Pittsburgh? They're a really good team. But I'll bring it full circle, guys, because I asked the question at the beginning of the show. Who is the best team in the NFL? Now you got some Steelers fans like, it's Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh's the best team in the NFL right now, but honestly, who cares? They're in the worst division in the NFL, and they're stacking wins. That's all I care about.
Their defense can be talented. Their coach can be great, but it really has a lot to do with the hands of that quarterback. I had a very rare opportunity over the last 2 seasons. I had that Jets game in London last year when Saleh got fired after, where Rodgers is in a production meeting with us. I had this year's Steelers-Ireland game, and the difference in a year that was made for that man in our meetings and our interactions. He's happy, he's joyful, and he actually credits Pat Freiermuth as the guy in the locker room in the summer to say, hey, we all want to hang out with you. We want to, get on the same rhythm and make sure we're all in unison.
The news out of Pittsburgh this week hit every fan right in the heart. A captain has gone down. Not just any player, but Miles Killebrew, the soul of the Steelers special teams and one of the emotional leaders in that locker room. Coach Mike Tomlin confirmed that Killebrew suffered a significant knee injury during the win over the Cleveland Browns and has been officially ruled out for the upcoming primetime matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. For any true member of Steelers Nation, hearing that felt like a punch to the gut. Killebrew isn't just a name on the roster. He's been a symbol of grit, consistency, and brotherhood. For 5 seasons, he's been the tone setter for Pittsburgh special teams, flying down the field, making game-changing tackles, and being the first to congratulate a teammate or the last to walk off the field after a tough play. This is the same guy who was selected to the Pro Bowl twice, who earned first-team All-Pro honors in 2023, and who's been a living example of what it means to wear the black and gold. To lose a player like that, especially during a short week heading into a divisional showdown, is a blow that goes beyond the numbers. But as always, Mike Tomlin's words carried weight, the kind that defines this franchise. In his press conference, he said, "He's our captain, but you guys know the motto that we live by. We can certainly hurt for him as a man and as a teammate and a brother, but from a football perspective, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity." That's vintage Tomlin. No excuses, no self-pity, just accountability, unity, and the belief that someone else will rise when the moment demands it. That's the DNA of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why this team stays competitive year after year, no matter what adversity hits. The play itself was brutal to watch. It came on a Browns kickoff return after Chris Boswell drilled his 3rd field goal of the game, putting Pittsburgh up 9-0. Killebrew went down suddenly, grabbing at his right knee, and within seconds, the trainers rushed in. You could see the players' faces, not just concern, but heartbreak. The entire sideline gathered around him, forming a human circle of respect and support. Moments like that remind us that football is more than a game. It's a brotherhood built on trust, sacrifice, and pain shared together. Jabril Peppers, who joined this team earlier this season, was right there helping carry Killebrew off the field. A simple gesture that spoke volumes. No rivalry, no stat line, just a teammate stepping up for another. That's what Pittsburgh football has always stood for. And for fans who've been following this team through every high and low, that image, Killebrew being helped to the locker room as the entire bench stood by him, it's one that will stay in our minds for a long time. Coach Tomlin was asked whether the field conditions at Acrisure Stadium played a role in the injury. The surface has been under criticism for weeks, with multiple players mentioning that it gets chewed up quickly during games. Tomlin, as usual, didn't make excuses. He said, "I have no idea if that played a role." But it was telling that even Aaron Rodgers, the veteran quarterback who's seen more football fields than most, admitted after the game that the turf had deteriorated badly as the game went on. Rodgers said by the time the third quarter rolled around, that thing was really beat up, so I feel bad about what happened to Miles. Those are words from one warrior respecting another. Rodgers' comment matters because it wasn't just sympathy, it was recognition. Recognition of a player who's earned the respect of both teammates and opponents alike through effort and integrity. Killebrew is one of those guys who does the dirty work, the thankless tasks that never make the highlight reels but win football games over the long haul. Whether it's blocking punts, covering kicks, or setting the tone with his energy, he's been a foundational piece of the Steelers' identity. Now, with him sidelined, the question becomes, who steps up? Tomlin was clear that this is about opportunity. Players like Mark Robinson, Nick Herberg, or even special teams depth pieces like Miles Boykin could see expanded roles in coverage units. But beyond the tactical replacements, this moment is about leadership. Who takes the emotional mantle that Killebrew carried? Who keeps the special teams unit sharp and motivated in his absence? Those are the storylines that define seasons. And for a team that prides itself on resilience, this is another chance to prove it. The timing couldn't be more intense. A short week, a road game in Cincinnati, a Bengals team desperate to claw back into relevance. The Steelers, at 4-1, can't afford a lapse in intensity, especially in the third phase of the game, the one that often decides tight divisional matchups. Special teams have been a quiet weapon for Pittsburgh all year, and losing their captain means every snap, every block, every return now carries a little extra weight. But here's the thing. The Steelers thrive in moments like this. This is a franchise that's built on next man up mentality. From the days of James Harrison stepping in as an undrafted player to become Defensive Player of the Year, to unknown contributors becoming playoff heroes, this organization has always found ways to turn adversity into fuel. Killebrew's injury hurts, but it also ignites something in that locker room, because when one of your leaders goes down, the real ones rise. And we've already seen this team rise in every aspect. Aaron Rodgers has brought a calm and confident edge to the offense. DK Metcalf is finally hitting his stride, proving that the trade was worth every headline. Jalen Ramsey just had one of the best defensive performances of his career. The locker room is buzzing with belief. You can feel it through the screen when you watch these games. The swagger is back. The unity is back. This is Steelers football again. What makes this team special isn't just the talent, it's the mentality. Every time someone doubts them, they respond. Every time they face an injury, they adapt. Every time they're counted out, they find a way to win ugly, tough, and proud. That's the legacy of Mike Tomlin, a coach who preaches standard is the standard, and whose players live by it. For Miles Killebrew, the road to recovery begins now, but make no mistake, his presence will still be felt every Sunday. Whether he's on the sideline mentoring younger guys or leading pregame huddles, he's still the captain. And knowing his personality, don't be surprised if you see him on the field again later this season doing what he does best, making plays that change games and inspiring those around him. The loss hurts, but it doesn't break this team. It unites them. That's what great franchises do. They turn pain into power. The Steelers are heading into Cincinnati with a mission, carrying the spirit of their fallen captain with them. And if you know this team, you know exactly what happens when they play with that kind of fire. Steelers Nation, this is your moment too. Drop your thoughts below. How confident are you heading into the Bengals game? How big will the leadership of Killebrew be even from the sidelines? Let's keep the energy going for the man who's given everything to this team. If you love this team the way we do, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with another Steelers fan, and subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire, because this season, the Black and Gold are writing another chapter in their story of resilience. For Miles Killebrew, for the Brotherhood, and for the city of Pittsburgh, this team won't stop.